guys, if you're new to Deception Bytes, hit the like and subscribe button and be sure to hit the bell to be notified of future videos. If you wish to support the channel, the links are in the description below. Now, fasten your seatbelt. Here we go. Hey guys, we're back and it's Wednesday, November 21st, and it's 6:04 p.m. Eastern Time. Now, Q did post yesterday. I was unable to do a post yesterday because I had a medical appointment that was out of town, and by the time I got back, I was just wiped out. So anyway, we're hopefully going to get caught up tonight, and I'm going to make up for it tonight, hopefully by doing two videos. I'm going to hit on the Q posts from yesterday, which are very interesting, and then my gosh, I've probably got days and days worth of Q-related news that I've been collecting. So I need to do Q-related news because, boy, there is a ton of it. Anyway, let's get started. And before I get into this, I wanted to wish you all happy Thanksgiving. All you Americans, and I consider myself American. I probably won't get a turkey tomorrow because if I did, I would have to cook it, and well, you know, and it's not Thanksgiving here, unfortunately. So anyway, I hope you all have a wonderful Thanksgiving. I hope that you spend it with people you love. And that doesn't always necessarily have to be family, because there are friends that I love as much as family. So anyway, there you go. We're going to get right into Q, and I know that's what you're here for. So let's get started with this. We've got some interesting posts here. Interesting. At first, when I read over this right quickly, I thought, my gosh, what is this? It's like a dog's breakfast full of posts. But the more I looked at it, the more there's some really pertinent things here. So let's get started with the first, which is this, and this was posted at 21:42 Eastern Time, and that would have been, what, 9 o'clock last night. So he leaves a link, which we're going to go out to in a minute, and underneath that, he says D5. Now, if you recall, Q had been talking about D5 back a while ago, and we didn't really know what D5 was. Well, interestingly enough, Q is saying D stands for December 5th, D5. Nothing can stop what is coming. Nothing. This election was not about fixing the economy, trade, borders, military, protecting our children, etc. Also, another corrupt politician or insider can simply undo it. Band-aid. This was simply another 4-year elections, but a crossroads in the history of our civilization that will determine whether or not we, the people, reclaim victory over our government. So, yes, when we held this election back in 2016, it was just another 4-year election, but I don't think anybody really knew what was coming or what we were in for, and nobody could have predicted Q, I don't think. But anyway, let's see what else he is trying to tell us by going out to this link that he's provided for us. House GOP to hold a hearing into DOJ's probe of Clinton Foundation. This is good news. This is very good news. Now, I'm not going to play this. Hang on here. Representative Mark Meadows said Tuesday that House Republicans plan to hear testimony on December 5th from the prosecutor appointed by former Attorney General Jeff Sessions to probe alleged wrongdoing by the Clinton Foundation. Meadows, who is chairman of the House Oversight and Government Reform Subcommittee on Government Operations, told Hill TV's Rising that it's time to, quote, circle back to U.S. Attorney John Huber's investigation with the Justice Department into whether the Clinton Foundation engaged in any improper activities. And we all know that they did. All right. Mr. Huber with the Department of Justice and FBI have been having an investigation. At least part of his task was to look at the Clinton Foundation and what may or may not have happened as it relates to improper activity that charitable foundation. So we've with that charitable foundation. So we've set a hearing date for December the 5th, he told Hill TV during an interview on Wednesday. Meadows, who is also the chairman of the Conservative House Freedom Caucus, said the committee plans to delve into a number of Republicans' concerns surrounding the foundation, including whether any tax-exempt proceeds were used for personal gain and whether the foundation complied with IRS laws. Well, we already know that they didn't. Sessions appointed Huber last year to work in tandem with the Justice Department to look into conservative claims of misconduct at the FBI and review several issues surrounding the Clintons. This includes former Secretary of State Hillary Clinton's ties to a Russian nuclear agency and concerns about the Clinton Foundation. Huber's work has remained shrouded in mystery. The White House has released little information about Huber's assignment other than Sessions' address to Congress saying his appointed successor should address concerns raised by the Republicans. But Meadows said the committee thinks it's time Huber gives an update to Congress about his findings and expects him to be one of the witnesses at the hearing. Meadows also added that his committee is also trying to secure testimonies from whistleblowers who could have more information about potential improprieties surrounding the Clinton Foundation. It's amazing that there are any whistleblowers left alive because you know just as well as I that anyone that has detrimental information about the Clintons or their foundation seem to get suddenly depressed and commit suicide. Anyway, Meadows also added his committee is also trying to secure testimonies from whistleblowers. Okay, we're now starting to work with a couple of whistleblowers that would indicate that there is a great probability of significant improper activity that's happening in and around the Clinton Foundation, he said. The foundation, meanwhile, has repeatedly denied any wrongdoings. Well, of course they would. This move marks House Republicans' last-ditch efforts to pursue their concerns surrounding the Clinton Foundation before Democrats take back the House in January. Are the Democrats really going to take back the House in January? I don't know. Time will tell. Just because they're elected doesn't mean that they will ever serve. Just remember that. Because if election fraud is found, they could reverse those. And I don't know. I don't know what they have up their sleeves, but it's something interesting, I am sure. Now, let's go back here and see what Q is telling us. So, we've got this about the House GOP to hold hearings into the DOJ's probe of Clinton Foundation, and that's happening on December 5th, which corresponds to the D5 that Q has been talking about for a while now, and he says, nothing can stop what is coming. Nothing. This election was not about fixing the economy, trade, borders, military, protecting our children, etc. Also, another corrupt politician or insider can simply undo it. This was not simply another 4-year election, but a crossroads in the history of our civilization that will determine whether or not we the people reclaim control over our government. So what is he saying here? Because I'm seeing something else here that maybe concerns me a little bit. I don't know. He's saying this election wasn't about all the stuff that Trump has done. That's good. Fixing the economy, all that stuff. All those things are good, but it wasn't about that because he could do all this good and then in 2020 be voted out. I mean, it's possible, right? So he's saying this wasn't about this. It was about taking back control of the government. But what does that mean? Like when Trump is finished his 4 years and let's say he gets elected for another 4 years, which I fully expect and hope, then what happens after that? What happens if a corrupt politician comes in after that? Do they have something in plan to prevent that? And I'm saying it sounds to me like they do. Are we going to end up having a king? Are we going to end up having, I don't know. I'm just saying, I'm not seeing anything overly nefarious here. I'm just talking out loud. I'm thinking out loud. But anyway, let's go on. Now, we looked at this. This I cannot show you, but I'll tell you what it is. It's the video we've seen dozens of times. And if you go to YouTube and type in this video will get Donald Trump elected. You will find the video in question. It's the one that starts out our movement, and Trump is talking very eloquently about the movement. So I would suggest, if you have not seen that, that you view it. Because the music is copyrighted, I can't play it for you or I'll get a copyright strike. So there you go. Now, in terms of this, I put this underneath here because I thought it was a good little quip from Lisa May Crowley. Meadows said House Republicans plan to hear testimony on December 5th from the prosecutor appointed by former AG Jeff Sessions to probe alleged wrongdoings by the Clinton Foundation. So we now know that that's what D5 is. And interesting, because D5, we've always associated that with the highest level of avalanche, and like everything that Q does, it has many, many meanings. D5 can stand for a whole lot of things. So it could stand for 45 because D is the fourth letter of the alphabet. It could stand for the highest, most destructive level of an avalanche. That's the type of avalanche that just destroys everything in its path. We know that Q has alluded to that snowball, going downhill. So we know that is another, reading into this D5. So, but now we've got another new one, December 5th, D5. So what's going to happen on December 5th? Well, probably something significant if Q is already talking about it. Now, let's go out here because I do have some extra things here on this. And I'm getting this from, if I'm not mistaken, I think this is Lisa May Crowley's website, but I'm not sure actually, but she's on this a lot anyway. Now, I want to come down here a ways, if I can find it again. And this person said, there's an avalanche, D5 avalanche, of information about the Clinton Foundation to be made public by the House. And I happen to agree with that as well. Let me see, there was something else I wanted to show you down here somewhere. Okay, I'm going to wait until we get to that, and then I'll come back to this, okay? Just so we're not skipping ahead of ourselves and getting confused. Not that you guys get confused, but I do. So here we go. Let's go up to the next Q post, and it's this. And he has a link to Lisa May's status. So that's interesting. And underneath, he says, together we win. Attacks on Whitaker will only intensify. Senate was the target, 53 to 47. So now we know what the 53 to 47 was. That's the Senate. And 53 Republicans to 43 Dems. And they're saying that was the target. He's saying that was the target all along. So relax. Everybody that's freaking out about all the election fraud, myself included, I'm including myself there, we can relax because it's under control. It's under control. We've been told that, and I do believe that. And their goal was the Senate, and so that's good. Now, let's look at this link that Q has provided us here and see what it is. And it says, how awesome. Latest cover pic on General Flynn's page came from a video recorded by our Patriot brother, Corticon. So this eagle flying came from, and it says, Lagoon by our house, saw a bald eagle and thought of you, bro. As the Q turns, and General Flynn used it as his cover pic on Twitter. And so anyway, I'm not really sure why this is such a big deal, except that it's a bald eagle. It says, our friend at Corticon mentioned last night he'd also made previous background pic at General Flynn used. It was an eagle at 1:55 in a music video Sean made. An excellent cover. I didn't say anything about at Jen Flynn background picture last time made it. The most recent change, I'll record, eagle is a strong image, same as America, we will win. So anyway, for some reason, Q picked up on this picture on General Flynn, and he put it in a post. And he said, together, we win. And then he says attacks on Whitaker will only intensify. Senate was the target. Then he links to this about Grassley, and we're going to go out and we're going to take a look at that. We are, right now. Here we go. All right, Senate Judiciary Chair Grassley's move leaves key opening. Interesting. Washington, Reuters, Senator Chuck Grassley said on Friday he will relinquish his job as U.S. Senate Judiciary Committee chairman next year, creating a coveted vacancy atop a panel that reviews judicial nominations and was among those examining Russia's role in U.S. elections. Republican Senator Lindsey Graham, a former skeptic towards President Donald Trump, who in recent months has become one of his fiercest supporters, has publicly stated his interest in becoming Judiciary Chairman Committee in the event of a vacancy. Grassley, an Iowa Republican who turned 85 in September. Grassley, yeah. I was thinking, Lindsey Graham, 85? No, he doesn't look 85. Grassley, I'm sorry, I misread that. Grassley, an Iowa Republican who turned 85 in September, said in a statement that in giving up the Judiciary Committee post, he would instead seek to replace retiring Senator Orrin Hatch as chairman of the Tax Writing Senate Finance Committee, a position Grassley held twice previously. The Judiciary Committee's role in reviewing judicial nominations has been in the spotlight at a time when Trump has nominated a succession of conservative judges in a bid to move the federal judiciary, including the Supreme Court, to the right. The Senate must confirm appointees to the Supreme Court and other federal judgeships. The committee was the focus of attention this fall in contentious public hearings over Trump's second Supreme Court nominee, Brett Kavanaugh, who denied an allegation that he sexually assaulted a university professor in the 1980s when both were teenagers. The Republican-led panel backed Kavanaugh despite fierce Democratic opposition, and the Senate voted to confirm the conservative federal appeals court judge to a lifetime position on the high court on October 6. Graham lashed out at Kavanaugh's Democratic opponents during the tense hearings, accusing them of pursuing the most unethical sham since I've been in politics. At head of the Finance Committee, Grassley said he would focus on additional tax cuts and tax fairness, U.S. exports, and improving U.S. health care. While the Senate Intelligence Committee has taken the lead in the chamber in looking into Russia's interference in the 2016 U.S. presidential election, the Judiciary Committee has played a smaller role. Special counsel Robert Mueller's Russia investigation has led to criminal charges against former Trump aides and a variety of Russian individuals and entities. Graham on Thursday met with Matthew Whitaker, who Trump named as acting attorney general after ousting Jeff Sessions last week. Whitaker, who has assumed authority over the Mueller probe, told Graham he was comfortable with the ongoing investigation, the senator said. Senate Republicans who maintain control of the chamber in midterm congressional elections this month will finalize the committee leadership posts when the next Congress convenes in January. Democrats won control of the House. Well, yes, they did, by cheating, I might add. So, there you go. Grassley his leaving is making a position available potentially for Graham. Don't know what will happen. I wouldn't be surprised to see that happen, to tell you the truth. I wouldn't be surprised at all, and I don't think that would be a bad thing either. So there you go. Now, so there, there's some interesting things happening behind the scenes, and there are things happening behind the scenes. Anyone that doubts that is not paying attention at all, or has their head too far stuck into the mainstream media. You've got to get out and start listening to some alt media, and I'm not saying that just because I would consider myself in that category, I suppose, but because there are some good voices out there that are really getting into some good investigative journalism, and they're not being given the, they're not being applauded. That, let's just say that much. And you probably know their names. They're out there. There's Laura Loomer. There's all sorts of. I think Candace, what's her last name? Is it Owens? I think she's doing a fantastic job. There's a lot of people that are doing a really good job out there. So, get out there and see what some of these people are doing, because they deserve it. All right, now here is the next one, and it says panic in DC. Did Whitaker remove SC special articles? And I would assume that is special counsel inserted by Rod Rosenstein regarding the expanded scope of version 2. Was the scope narrowed to the original mandate assigned? Item used when walking a dog? That would be a leash. So I would assume he's saying that if someone is on a leash who I would assume maybe Rod Rosenstein, because obviously we know when Q asks a question, he's not asking a question. So Whitaker did remove special articles inserted by Rod Rosenstein regarding the expanded scope of the special counsel, and now the scope has been narrowed to the original mandate assigned. Somebody's on a leash. Panic in DC. Yes, I would say so. I would say they are panicking. Now let's go back over here. I wanted to show you something here. Now it says regarding this post, did Whitaker remove SC? I would assume that's special counsel. Special articles inserted by RR, and this is Lisa Mae Crowley. She's saying RR sent a secret memo to Mueller expanding the authority or scope of special counsel investigation. It appears Whitaker removed certain items that Rod Rosenstein added in version 2. So the special counsel scope has been reduced back to the original mandate. Whitaker has Mueller on a leash. Okay, so it's Mueller that is on a leash, and I guess that makes sense because Rod Rosenstein is just, So here's the secret memo RR sent to Mueller expanding the scope of the special counsel investigation, guessing whatever was in the redacted portions are no longer in play based on this Q's drop. And this is the letter from Rod Rosenstein, the acting attorney general, to Robert S. Mueller III, special counsel, and it's regarding the scope of investigation. I'm not sure if I can make this any bigger. No, I can't. On May 17th, 2017, I issued an order entitled Appointment of Special Counsel to Investigate Russian Interference with the 2016 Presidential Election and Related Matters, appointing you to serve as special counsel for the United States Department of Justice, Order number 3915, 2017. The order authorizes you to conduct the investigation confirmed by then FBI Director James B. Comey's testimony before the House Permanent Select Committee on Intelligence on March 20th, 2017, including 1. Any links and or coordination between the Russian government and individuals associated with the campaign of President Donald Trump, and 2. Any matters that arose or may arise directly from that investigation. The investigation, Order B1 and 2. The May 17th, 2017 order was worded categorically in order to permit the public release without confirming specific investigations involving specific individuals. This memorandum provides a more specific description of your authority. The following allegations were within the scope of the investigation at the time of your appointment and are within the scope of the order. And allegations that Paul Manafort committed a crime or crimes by colluding with Russian government officials with respect to Russian government's efforts to interfere with the 2016 election of the President of the United States in violation of the United States law, and committed a crime or crimes arising out of payment he received from the Ukrainian government before and during the tenure of President Viktor Yanukovych. I can't pronounce his name, so I'm not going to try. Anyway, that's interesting. So Rod Rosenstein expanded the scope of the probe, and Whitaker has peeled it back, pared it back. So RR's secret message to Mueller had expanded the special counsel's mandate. Whitaker has Bob Mueller on a leash. He has narrowed the investigation as increased by Rosenstein through removal of portions of version 2. PDF document download from Politico shows some of the pages of the RR memo to Mueller from back on the 2nd of August 2017. Largely redacted areas hold some clue as to what was. So this is interesting. So yeah, let's go back to Q. Why? Because we can. All right, let's go on. Now, this is a curious post, if you ask me. It's a link to a Twitter, and the Twitter page happens to belong to Maggie Haberman. Where have we heard that name before? Well, Q has talked about Maggie Haberman in the past. She was she is one of many supporters that are reporters rather that are linked to the deep state and have their hands deeply embedded into the deep state pie. So she was also a Clinton lackey, I guess. So for lack of a better word. So it's interesting. She's definitely anti-Trump, anti-Q, anti-American, if you ask me. But here is a very odd tweet of hers that Q has brought to our attention. It says, OH on the Q train intercom. Attention passengers, the intercom phone is for emergencies only. It is not for asking the conductor questions. Now, very odd. It's a very odd post. Now, what Q is telling us here is that this post by Maggie Haberman is code, and it's being sent to someone. And what it is, it's meaning that there are three people and one person there's three people in the FBI and one person in the DOJ. Very nervous. People are nervous. People are nervous. Q. And he gives this by Maggie Haberman. Odd. An odd post, if you ask me. It doesn't make any sense at all to me. And I'm not the only person that felt it was code, because here is Lisa McCrowley. New York Times Haberman sending coded message under guise of overhearing something on Q train intercom, signaling need for emergency comms with 3 FBI, Comey, McCabe, Strzok, and 1 DOJ, Yates. She's on list as having colluded with the DNC and Hillary Rodham Clinton. Wondering, since Huber's investigation start November 17 was mentioned in Q-DROP 1515, which lists reporters who colluded with DNC and or Hillary Rodham Clinton campaign, if tonight's news regarding Huber's 5th of December testimony is what triggered Haberman's odd tweet, well, it is an odd tweet, and she's obviously a little bit worried, as she should be. I think anybody that has been colluding in any way with the deep state needs to be a little worried at this point. But look at all these reporters. It is unbelievable. A massive, massive list of them. Massive list. And there she is, New York Times, Maggie Haberman, and oh, there's a bunch of them. Bunch of them. So, there you go. We know who she is and what she stands for anyway. Now, let's go back to Q. Now, I'd also like to say that I get the feeling with these posts right here that there's a lot more to these than we're hitting on the surface kind of, but I think there's a lot more to these posts, and I think that future will prove past. I think that, I don't know, somebody told me that the Q clock runs out tomorrow, Thanksgiving. I think that's interesting. Now, I'm just going to be honest with you. I haven't got in real deep with the Q clock. I really haven't. I've looked at it. There seems to be something there that's real. It's just, I'm not sure how they laid it out and how they came to get the Q clock. And I need to delve into it a little bit more and figure it out, because there is something there. I guess until I can understand how exactly they came up with it, I reserve judgment on it. But I would say that I'm more for it than against it. So there you go, for what it's worth. Now, let's go up to the next one. And here he has made reference to the quote, to the post we just looked at with Maggie Haberman, her weird cryptic tweet. And underneath, we've got a link that Q has placed for us. And he said, "Do you believe in coincidences? Think D5, panic in DC." So let's take a look at the link that he wants us to look at. And I don't think any of you will be surprised by this. As soon as I saw this, you know, come across some of my feeds, I was like, oh, please. Just, you know, all this stuff about Hillary Rodham Clinton's emails is all coming out again, and she thinks it was all put to bed and everybody forgot, and she, you know, she had her people cover for her and she thought, it's going to be okay. No, it isn't. And all that's coming up again. So what do they have to do? Yeah, they dig up an old story about Ivanka. Democrats plan to investigate Ivanka Trump's use of private email account. Well, there's a big difference between Ivanka Trump and, well, I guess she's not Ivanka Trump anymore. Or maybe she does go, I guess she does go by her maiden name still. Anyway, there's a big difference between what she did and what Hillary Clinton did. Because, you know, Hillary Clinton, provided national security secrets through her email. She was not just using it as email. She was using it as her little pay-to-play thing. Washington, President Trump, who campaigned in 2016 by aggressively criticizing Hillary Clinton's use of private email server, dismissed as fake news on Tuesday questions about a similar practice by his daughter, Ivanka Trump, during her early days working in the White House. A White House review showed Ms. Trump sent dozens of government-related emails to and from a private account and hundreds related to her West Wing schedule. Well, first of all, this is old news, very, very old news, and I don't know the veracity of it at all. Do I trust the New York Times? No, not even this much. So no, I don't trust them, and we want to go back here and look at something else. The second link. And of course, it's the same New York Times. Trump wanted to order Justice Department to prosecute Comey and Clinton. So we can see now, it's pretty clear. These people are so transparent, and they think that they're so sly when really it's like, it's laughable how transparent mainstream media has gotten. Like, you can almost, guarantee what's going to be in the news at any given time. And it's just, I don't know. People really must be either incredibly dumbed down, or they think people are incredibly dumbed down. I don't know which is which. I mean, I think it's a little bit of each. But anyway, Washington, President Trump told the White House counsel in the spring that he wanted to order the Justice Department to prosecute two of his political adversaries, his 2016 challenger, Hillary Clinton, and the former FBI Director, James B. Comey, according to two people familiar with the conversation. The lawyer, Donald F. McGahn, to rebuff the president. Oh, this is just going to be more bashing the president, isn't it? The president has continued to privately discuss the matter, including the possible appointment of a second special counsel to investigate both Ms. Clinton and Mr. Comey. According to two people who have spoken to Mr. Trump about the issue, he has also repeatedly expressed disappointment in the FBI Director Christopher A. Wray for failing to more aggressively investigate Mrs. Clinton, calling him weak, one of the people said. And can we believe any of this? Probably not. But I think that it goes without saying that Hillary's emails are in the news again, so they have to get that out of there. So let's bring up something that's old news on Ivanka Trump and her emails and just make Trump seem like he's some big hypocrite. So that's exactly what they're doing, and it's very, very transparent. So let's go back and take a look at this, and it says, do you believe in coincidences? No, it's no coincidence that this old news is coming up now. Of course not. D5. Now, and he's already told us that's December 5th. Think December 5th. Panic in D.C. They're panicking. They're panicking over that. And we can see how much they hate Whitaker. So we know that something's going to be coming down with Whitaker. Absolutely. Now, that brings us up to date. I did check before I posted to make sure that there was no additional Q posts, and there are not. So that brings us up to date with the Q posts, but I am going to be doing a video with Q related news because, again, there's a ton of it and it's important stuff. So that's what we're going to be doing next. And I hope to be talking to you and seeing you soon. I hope you stay well, stay safe, and get prepared for tomorrow, Turkey Day. And I hope that you, while you're enjoying your turkey and your family, that you will give thanks to the Lord from whom all good things come. And you have a wonderful evening. Stay blessed. Stay safe. Talk to you soon. Bye-bye.